Hello, I'm Dr. Ross Walker and welcome to the checkup. Hello, Dr. Ross Walker, welcome to the checkup. I've been focusing on the immune system and I want to tell you about something that is probably the central feature of all modern diseases. And what I'm referring to is inflammation. Now, we hear so much about inflammation. Well, what is inflammation? Firstly, we were designed to wander around a jungle for 30, 40 years with a spear, and our immune system was really evolved to cope with trauma, so having some sort of injury or having a saber-toothed tiger rip your arm off or whatever, or infection. So they were the two things that hunter-gatherers died from. They didn't die of heart disease or cancer. They didn't live long enough to get it. So really the immune system was geared up for those two things. So when you look at any modern diseases are all based around chronic inflammation, and it's basically due to something that shouldn't be there in the first place. So let me explain to you what I mean by that. Let's focus on my specialty, heart disease, for a second. In a hunter-gatherer situation, their lifelong cholesterol is below 3, their lifelong blood pressure, top reading blood pressure, is below 100. Now, please tell me someone in society who has a lifelong cholesterol below 3 and a blood pressure below 100. You won't find anybody, or if you do, they'd be very, very rare. Those people don't get the buildup of fat in their arteries. But once your cholesterol goes above 3, which is almost everybody, and your blood pressure goes above 100, the pressure and the excessive nutrients that are running around your bloodstream then spill into the wall of your arteries. So what we call oxidized LDL cholesterol spills into the wall of your arteries. So imagine a donut, the fat's spilling up into the wall, the oxidized LDL crosses the wall and sits there. So this is where the inflammation starts. The foot soldiers, the macrophages, so they're part of the innate immune system, they cross the wall to pick up the fat and start getting rid of it. So they start chewing on the fat. But the macrophages are like human beings. They like the taste of fat. They go, gee, this tastes good. So they keep chewing on the fat. What happens to the macrophages? Like human beings, they become fat. The macrophage turns into what we call a foam cell, which gets bigger, 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 and it ruptures. And when it ruptures, more of an immune response occurs, more macrophages come in, chew up more fat. And so these things just get bigger and bigger and bigger into a fatty plaque. And so it's not just fat, there's fat in all these dead inflammatory cells. And we call that chronic inflammation. And that then becomes part of the problem. So it becomes like a corrupt security guard or a corrupt policeman. It becomes part of the problem. And so the fatty plaque gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you don't arrest the process, then it will progress into some form of disease. So that's how chronic inflammation causes heart disease. In the next checkup, I'll explain how chronic inflammation also contributes to cancer. That's the checkup. We'll talk to you next week.